And we're live here on week 18. The NFL regular season is coming to a close. But lucky for you, you're going to get the information that you need because this is going to be a very important week for people who want to do the research, for people who want to build through value, because there's going to be a lot of teams we're going to talk about not playing their proper players. Again, Judge Jigsaw, my man Jason, and Big Dave. You saw Dave last night on the season-long fantasy DraftCast, which was pretty cool. Something that the guys have never done. The Century Tournament, they're back. The DraftCast season, so make sure you go back and watch that. Get in line for those first-round leaders tomorrow. But listen, Jason, man, obviously the holidays are over now. It's 2024. It's the first DraftCast in 2024. And the playoffs are coming. And this is the kind of, you mentioned off air, there's an edge for some people this week. And what do you mean by that?
Look, man, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be out, so you're going to have some backups rolling in. They're going to be backups all over the place. You got teams that are not playing for anything. You got teams that are resting their starters. Then you got rookies that are still trying to make a point of it, guys fighting for jobs, salaries. Some incentives I'm not going to really factor in too much right now because, you got the Chiefs, Rams, Niners, and Browns looking like the four teams that have nothing to play for. They're locked into their position. So no Mahomes, no Stafford, no Purdy, no Flacco. Flacco's the comeback player of the year. Sorry, Hamlin. He definitely deserves it. Lamar Jackson takes the MVP. And I'm going to ride Darius Slayton one more week, man. Caught his ladder 2 weeks in a row. Pretty much on the same play. Ty God, Ty Rod, whatever you want to call him these days. The dude should be a starting quarterback. He's probably the best backup quarterback in the league. He has a pretty juicy matchup against what team's he playing? Oh, yeah, the Eagles. Eagles have problems in the secondary, so I might run that back for a third time, man. Like, Slayton goes quiet for like a quarter or two, and then he catches like that 60-yard bomb from Tyrod, like right in the basket. Came through with a big prop, man. It was like plus 900 at the top. I bet the first three layers of the prop pretty hard, like 100, $150 on each of those first three. And then like 50, 75, something like that. So 5 or 6 layers deep, made the rest of the weekend only. It couldn't turn negative after, all those profits locked in from Slayton. So that guy's been clutch the last 2 weeks for me. I'm interested to see, where he lands in the prop market. And I think the books are going to adjust slow to getting some props out. I saw a couple things trickle out today. Posted one on Twitter, which I thought was kind of surprising, man. It's week 18. It's do or die for the Bills. And Stephon Diggs has a receiving prop, Dave, at 60.5. Like, I thought the number on Kelsey was good last week, and he shit the bed. I guess Kelsey. But I made up for it because I had Watson and Rice. I went all three with those props. So, Stephon Diggs, man, 60.5. He lit up the Dolphins the first time around. This is like as meaningful of a game that can be for them. How does he not get 61 yards against that Miami D that might be without Howard, might be, have injuries all around the defense, the offense. Allen's playing better, but Diggs has been playing like shit the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. So, Dave, do you want to get on that 60.5, or is it fool's gold with Stephon Diggs right now?
He's missed it in 6 of his last 7.
Yeah, I know. Kelsey was kind of bad too.
No, I'm with you. Like, he's too good to miss it out 7 to 8. I hear you, but it almost looks too low to be true, right? Like, I don't know. It almost feels like it feels like one of those DraftKings when they like tell you, I'll plus up your bet, that Christian McCaffrey scored in 19 straight games. So I'm gonna make you come to this one for plus 100, and he doesn't get it. I don't know. It feels weird, Jay, but I'm with you. The key to Buffalo win this game, but don't you think it's what they've been doing lately, and that's really moving the ball on the ground? I don't know.
What's funny is I just checked it again. FanDuel actually lowered that shit to 59.5 to suck us in even more, man. It's crazy. Yeah. And you told me Stephon Diggs, like Joe Flacco sitting at home, cozy waiting for his playoffs, and Diggs is fighting to get in, and his prop is 59.5. Tyreek's still 94.5. Pittman's up there at 75. Olave 73. Nico Collins at 70. Stephon Diggs is like in the George Pickens land. Like, Pickens is 51 against Baltimore with Mason Rudolph throwing the ball. Yeah. But, Diggs is at 59. So I was shocked when I saw that. Some of the props are trickling in. I'm going to light it up this week, man. Like, I'm going to attack it like every other week, and I'm excited about the props. More so these days, I've been hammering props more than building DFS on it, so I can be totally honest, and I love it, man.
So you guys talked about the key outs, and you said you're not really into the incentive parts yet, but I'll throw a few out there. I'll take that role. I read one. Darius Slayton needs one catch for $2.5 million. Your boy, Darius Slayton, $2.5 million, one catch.
Actually, that's scary, man. Like, there's these, what they did to Russ. Maybe they don't get this. That's a big number, man.
That's huge.
What was his number at? Like, he doesn't have that many catches on the year.
I'm just reading what they need, so I'm not sure. The other one that's real attractive to me is DeAndre Hopkins. He needs 7 to get 257 receptions for 250,000, but more importantly, 49 yards for $1 million bonus. I think D-Hop can get there versus a Jaguars team that is just falling apart.
Slayton has 45 catches, so somebody wrote up his contract. If he gets 46 catches, he gets $2.5 million. That's bonkers to me.
I won't tell you where I'm reading this from, but that's what it says.
Okay.
One other interesting one, and you guys tell me this: Austin Eckler, 110 combined receiving rushing for 100K. I'm done. No, right?
That ain't happening.
Yeah. Not with that team. And
do you think they look at that? Like
100% the players do. Like,
no. I mean, like
the team.
Do you think they prey on that? Like the organizations? Do you think they're like, like in Phil? You think Howie's calling Sirianni, go, yo, Slayton can't get a catch today? You know what I mean?
Not the opposing. If it's anything, it's
no. I'm saying hypothetically, say Slayton was a part of the Eagles. Like just say it was AJ Brown. Do you think Howie's going, he's got an incentive for 2 catches, man? Let's limit him. Let's limit the play call to AJ.
Blatant shit like that. If it was like 7 catches, they might call a couple less plays. But if they're like in a meaningful game where they have to win, they ain't gonna put that in jeopardy. But like
the Gronk, I think it was a year or 2 ago. He came back to the sideline. He's like, boys, I need one more catch, and we're getting this.
Brady will get him. Brady will pay him himself. It don't really matter. But
this is a good point from Japan. I was going to get to this, and yes, I can confirm this: half a sack for $1.25 million. Great point. That's a huge one. My other one, Baker Mayfield, $1 million to get to the playoffs. So he's just got to win.
Oh, Baker, baby.
Baker, you have to get
Baker. Went back to Baker last week, just so you guys saw that. It was again. Yeah.
The Saints were one of my big bets, and then Devin Singletary. Tony, I know we've liked him a little bit. He's currently 52% of the snaps. If he plays 55%, he gets 125. If he plays over 50, 125. He's got a lot on the line this week. Devin Singletary. He already got a little bit for going over 1,000 yards. So Singletary needs to play, and this game's important.
Yes, I like Mr. Singletary this week.
Yeah, and I had Schultz at 6 receptions. Japan saying it's 4. And it's 6 for another 250. Yep, I'm with you. So guys, there's some stuff. I'm actually going to use these as edges in some of my DFS plays too today.
You have to. Right? I mean, you have to look at number one what they're playing for, right? And listen, like Devin Singletary, that's one right off the bat. I know he's not on the featured slate, but when you're building your other slates, it's like, look, man, he knows what he's going for. So yeah, you definitely have to look at that 100%. Just like you have to look at the games that people aren't going to play. The teams that aren't going to play their starters. You have to look at that too.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a couple other smaller ones that we can get into with some of our side bets as we talked about. I think that Chris Jones one is really important. Trying to see if there's any other. Tyler Higbee, he gets 5 more receiving yards. So do they roll him out there? Probably. Wentz will get him the ball. It'll be high.
Wentz.
He'll get him the ball. All right, guys. I mean, talking about, look, I got to be honest, last week I'm still I left the sheet. I told Jason down the shore that was my fault. We're going to say Jason won, and I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Because we're going to say coming into this week, the score is 4 me, 4 Tony, and 3 Jason now. So we're going to count this as a winner take all week.
Oh, I like that.
Okay?
All right. Sounds good. Let's roll this.
And then I'll let the truth out when I find my paper. But yeah.
I like it.
There's a lot of question marks in this week, man. It really, what we're building now on a Wednesday night is still very early. News is trickling in. But we know some key things. We know some key things for these 4 teams that it looks like I said, like the Chiefs, Rams, Niners, and Browns. Not to say that, all starters will be sitting, but I would safely assume that the key starters like the Pachenko, the Mahomes, the Kelseys, there's no reason to roll those guys. Flacco, Amari Cooper's been banged up. Elijah Moore's been banged up. The Rams, I can't see them roll out Stafford, Puka, or Cooper Kupp. And the Browns with Flacco. Niners with Purdy, C-Mac, Ayuk, and they're playing for a Super Bowl out there. Like, I don't see any of these teams really trying to push the needle, with any of their key players offensively, defensively. So there might be some openings. You can't take some of these defenses now too. Like, they're going to be benching people on San Fran's D, so there's going to be backups everywhere on the San Fran Rams game. There'll be backups in KC as well. So you got to get sneaky. You got to take shots this week. I would lower, overall, if you're not putting the work in, you're not really locked in, you're not really in tune with the information, save your bankroll or more of your bankroll for the playoffs where okay, everybody's playing for the most part, fighting for their lives in the playoffs, rather than week 18 where there's a lot of question marks still. And how much money do you want to put on some backups in some spots in LA or San Fran? So, obviously you're going to focus on the games that mean a lot. You got Dallas, in a good matchup. You got Philly, in a good matchup. Seattle fighting for their life. Green Bay fighting for their life. So those are the teams that you would think would be the most motivated. But it's not like baseball where it's like these guys are super motivated. Another team is, ready to go golfing. Football players are football players. They're going to be trying to kill each other at the same time. So it changes a little bit, from sport to sport. So I would temper some expectations, if you don't put the work in this week. And if you put the work in this week, you might want to increase your bankroll because there is a bigger edge this week as well. So it kind of works on both sides, depending on which side you're sitting on.
I think that's a great way to attack it, Jay. Don't just go with your normal bankroll if you haven't spent the time. I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, because you're going to get blown out. You're going to get blown out. You might have a couple people who are putting up zeros, and are not even playing, or you might have thought they're going to play a full 4 quarters and they end up playing, 1 quarter, like a preseason game. So be very careful and check the reports Friday, Saturday, leading up to Sunday.
All right. I like it. Tony, you want to lead us into this
great segue, man. It's a great segue. Honest to God, I mean, it's you have to think about it. You have to think about what you're doing. And listen, before we begin, make sure you need to keep yourself locked in, not only to us, but get in our Discord, get on the site. We're constantly updating when these injuries occur, man. So you're going to have to switch your lineup around when these guys decide. Listen, because there's teams that may be in it. Like, I'll give you an example. Look at the Las Vegas. Right away. No, Josh Jacobs may be cleared to play, but he's a free agent and they're already out of the playoffs. Are they going to play him? Right now, he's not ruled out, but you just don't know, right? So, maybe you take a shot on Zamir White and then all of a sudden they say on Saturday, oh, Jacobs is going to play, right? So you got to keep it locked in. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to help. We're here to lock it in. So, Dave, why don't we get this sheet up and, who's going to get first pick? It's Jason 1, right? So I guess he has to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take the first pick this week, so I'll clear that out of the way. So I'll go first, and then I guess you guys decide how do you want to go about the rest of this thing. So, Dave, what are you thinking? Or is Tony going second? Or
I'm sorry, there it goes. It all worked out. Okay. Yeah, Tony can pick second. So you're going first, Jay?
Yeah, I'll go first.
What do you want, Tone?
Who Jay? No, Jay's first.
I went number 1. I'm gonna take the first pick. Yeah.
Yeah, who you got?
No,
we're doing the position. What pick do you want?
I thought you said I was going second. I thought you said I was going second.
To choose. Second.
Okay, yeah, I'll go second.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's do that then. And I'll go third.
You can plug me in. Parsons named this guy the best wide receiver in the league. He's playing pretty darn good. He gets to go against Washington. Can't believe what the Lions did last week. That was the most asinine tilt accuracy of football. They got a rushing prop that we put in on live on the series show. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing right now? Like, going to OT. Yep. Like, if you went for the first time, I get it. Like, you go for it, and then after that shit happened, and then you get a penalty, you don't go for it at the 7. Like, that's just like the most ridiculous thing I've seen a coach do in quite some time. And then I had a Gibbs prop where he was like 4 yards away from his rush prop. I'm like, OT, he'll definitely get it. So I was kind of tilted by that. But long story short.
Give me a second. 1 second, real quick. We got Von, Ed in here. Why don't we give the audience a team tonight?
All right. If they can roll.
They had 4 wins too. They had 4 wins.
Right.
It's for it all tonight. Let's have some fun with it. So, Yvonne, Ed, hang in there, and you're going to get the 4th pick. We'll give them the 4th now.
And while you do that, if you were in a Discord today, Emmanuel quickly over 15 and a half points for the Raptors. He gets 18, and they're not through the 3rd quarter here. So cash that bet with some time. Had a rough night last night, but we got to quickly bet through. So, if you trailed, you made some money for this slate coming up. But, Tone, who do you got next, man?
I love it, man. Jay's always hitting. That's one thing.
He's
always hitting, man.
I got action. I got action all the time. We have action all the time. You'll be hitting some bets too, bro.
I like it. Listen, man. I had 2 receivers right on my mind. Number 1 was CeeDee Lamb. And number 2, this is just going to be a total with everything happening. I'm going AJ Brown. I listen. Sometimes you just gotta go with it.
Tone, what's happening? I want to hear what's happening.
So listen, AJ spoke today, right? You saw it, you heard him. The dude's frustrated because, listen, he knows when he gets 7 to 10 catches, they win. Now all of a sudden, things aren't happening. Play calling's a little quirky. Things are, and he mentioned it. Look, I mean, he don't up to it. He's like, look, coach took the fall for me. Like that play on the pass interference, he said, look, Nick made that up. Like that was me and Jay free balling. He was like, we decided that wasn't the play, right? So, I mean, listen, I just think that these guys are pressing so much right now and they're improvising. But here's what I'll say, and I'll ask you 2 guys this. This is the one point I have. If, because I try to read between the lines, if they're so happy and they're okay with Brian Johnson and the play calling, why are they trying to improvise and do their own thing? To me, that means they're not happy, right? To me, that means they're not happy. They're saying, look, man, we're not rolling this play. We need to go. Listen, I just think it's just not coming easy this year. And I think that a lot of these guys aren't built for adversity. And I think our coach has no idea how to adjust.
No, he doesn't. No clue.
0.
Yep.
I mean, that's the problem.
I've never seen 3 worse play calls in my entire humanity. And that's been quite some time, over 40 years here, than the last 3 they did to settle for a field goal against Arizona when you already knew it was Seattle all over again. Give them the ball back with more than 2 minutes, they were going to score. And it was and that's Brian Johnson. Then he comes down and tries to explain it today that we're trying to catch him off guard in an obvious passing situation. Buda Baker ran down the line and sniffed out that QB sneak so fast. Like, stop. It's so bad. But turn on with you, the adversity is real, and it's going to be hard to overcome. We'll just put it that way. But this week, I like where you're going. I think AJ.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why I'm going there. Yeah, it's a big week for AJ, in my opinion.
It is. I like it. Well, that turns to me. I'm going to go with the game that, Tampa needs to win or they go home. And I'm going to go Rachaad White to start it off. He's been their most consistent good player all year. We know Mike Evans is great, but Rachaad White at 7,600, I think is a really good spot. So I'll take him. And then audience, if you're ready, you got 2 picks. We're giving you a shot. And
Yvonne, you better be in Japan. Edward, we got a lot of people, listening right now. Like and subscribe, obviously, but let's hear some picks out there. Zamir White is the guy. All right, so go Zamir White. The guy's been good. He hasn't smashed value, but he's been good, and it's a great matchup versus Denver. He's getting all the touches, 20 touches the last 2 games. Went for 145 the first game he started, and then 71 the second time. Hasn't found the end zone, but caught 5 balls last week that helped him get over 15. So at $6K, good value, sure thing for cash for the most part. Yvonne, we need another one though. You're back to back here, so let's see what else you got.
Yeah, and then I'll answer Ed's question, and I think you guys might feel the same on this one. He flashed one earlier, asking about what we would play more this week, GPP or cash. I'm going to be honest, it's more GPP this week for me because of what Jason said. More volatility in market, more advantages if you really take your time and study this.
Yeah. I think you can play cash, but I would save more of my cash for the following week.
Yep.
At the same time, though, if you're feeling really good and you locked in with your value. I would prefer to play some single entries over playing cash this week, but you can play cash any week, man. If you build right, there's money to be made on both sides. Just make sure you're putting the time in and adjust throughout the week. This would be a week, more than any other week. I'd be doing my research the entire week and then really just building my lineups on Saturday nights or Sunday mornings. And thank you for stealing DK Metcalf. Appreciate you, audience. You guys are the best.
Yes.
I didn't think I was going to make it back. He's actually my cheat sheet cover for tomorrow. The cheat sheet will drop tomorrow, and I already made the graphic for it. So Metcalf is on that graphic. They're in a must-win spot. He's their number one. I like the call. Arizona's D, not so great. So good call, Ed, with the Metcalf or Yvonne, whoever called it out. But Dave, back to you, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit of value at running back here. I love the Zamir White call. There's two I'm kind of coin flipping, and I'm going to settle on give me James Conner.
Damn.
I saw enough of him last week, and the guy, he just every ounce of him fights for every yard. He's just I'm so impressed by the way he runs, especially on a bad team. Awesome heart. I'll take James Conner 61 in a good matchup against Seattle.
He runs hard too, man.
I just love it, right? Yeah, and
he
catches
does.
Yeah,
he runs hard. Yeah, I do like that about him. He definitely runs hard, 100%. Well, thanks for stealing that pick from me, Dave.
Nobody runs harder than Pacheco. That guy.
Oh, there's your boy Pacheco
running like this. What was that? Like he stole.
He runs like that all the time, man. Like he runs like I don't know if he takes short steps or what it is, but it looks so funny when he runs, man.
It's awesome.
But
all right,
dude's got heart though.
That's all right. All right, look, man. I'm going to take a guy from the Tampa game. Obviously, I'm going to take Mike Evans. Love Mike Evans. This guy's just a scorer machine. So it's very easy in a game that must win. Whether Baker was Baker, he still threw for over 300 yards. Doesn't matter. He's still airing it out. He's still slinging it out. And Carolina just stinks in all phases of the game. They got their owner throwing drinks on people and getting fined. Like they're a mess right now. So give me Mike Evans. Yeah, he's an idiot. He really is. He's a complete idiot. And then I'm going to go Breece Hall.
Whoa.
Whoa. That's my pick. I'm taking him next anyways, but he only get one pick, Tom. He only get one pick.
I thought I got two picks.
You're in the middle.
No. You're not in the one spot. That's all right. You should have taken him first. It would have screwed me up. That would have took Mike Evans on the way back. So I'm going to go double running backs here. The first guy is Breece Hall. If you saw his tweet today, he goes out and says, I'm going to be like a top whatever running back. I'm going to make the Pro Bowl. I'm going to be all pro next year. He's already talking that shit, so figured he goes out with a bang on Sunday. So I'm going to go with him. And this dude beside him is questionable. I would prefer Metcalf because he doesn't have the Q tag, but I think Kenneth Walker still goes. He came out of the game, early against Pittsburgh in like the third. He went through walkthrough today, but didn't practice today. I think they're just resting him. Hopefully they're resting him. Obviously, it's Wednesday night right now, but I want shares of Seattle in this matchup. So if it's not Kenneth Walker, anything looks like it's going to be a Charbonnet game. Obviously, you load up on Charbonnet with that discount, but you want to attack Arizona. You want to attack teams that are playing, for their playoff positioning or trying to get in the playoffs, and that's Seattle. So give me Walker. Like I said, Breece Hall is their entire offense for New York, and I believe if they have a quarterback, he could be a top 5 running back next year. So dude's made me money in the prop market the last couple of weeks. I kind of saw the trend happening when I watched the game. I made a ton of money on him that week, and I doubled down on Cleveland. So DFS-wise, 7,200. He's probably the top scorer on the slate from the running back spot. Rashad White probably right there with him, one of those two guys. And Antonio was a great pick. Thanks for setting me up with it. And back to you, my friend.
It's all good, man.
Just one pick.
I know.
Yeah, just one pick.
It's all right, man. I got tons of picks today. I got tons of picks. I got all kinds of surprises, man. That's okay. Listen, sometimes you just got to take guys that pass the eye test. And his last 2 weeks to me has just showed, another excel up the charts to where kind of I thought this guy was going to be, and that's Khalil Herbert. And I think that the more that you see Justin Fields assert himself in that role, it's going to open up. I mean, listen, it's very easy. You see when this guy gets the rock, he produces. Right? You know, you're from single digits to actual 20 and 18 carries per game. Listen, I love this matchup. I know it's on the road. I know it's against Green Bay, but Chicago against Green Bay, man, that's almost like the Dolphins and the Jets. Whenever they play, it doesn't matter, man. The score, records get thrown out. I'm all about Khalil Herbert this week.
To be honest, I had him next, or I had him before Connor. So that's the guy I was torn.
I had, like, I mean, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page.
What's cool, like Dante Foreman, they're not even dressing. So as long as keep an eye on that, everyone going into this weekend. If that continues to be the trend, Khalil Herbert will be a 30% player.
5,700, man.
Especially at that price. Maybe even, yeah. All right, I got to go Justin Fields now. Then I was, I was gonna go Herbert if I could, but like you said, that game means a ton to a couple of those teams, to both those teams. This means a ton to Justin Fields. Is he a Bear next year? Going on this huge win streak then this season might help him a lot. So give me Fields. This running game is just very effective for the Bears lately. He's got 27 rushing attempts in the past 3 weeks. So pretty good.
Okay.
And now it's on to the audience.
Hope they're ready to go here. Just a reminder, games and teams, even though the Chiefs, Rams, Niners, and Browns, are most likely playing backups, they'll probably be value in a lot of these spots too. So, to go back on what we were saying before, there's going to be some extreme values. There's going to be some guys, and we used to play this a lot in basketball, like a stars and scrubs lineup. I think, if you can get to that stars and scrubs lineup and you got some guys in that 3K range that you feel good about, you're able to load up on some big guys too. So looks like the audience is going to get their stack going with Geno Smith to DK Metcalf. Makes a lot of sense. And then let's roll with Schultz here. It looks like Dalton Schultz, another guy playing a meaningful game. We know there's no Tank Dell. I tried doing a Noah Brown. That's one of my props. Two of my props that lost last week. I didn't lose too much, but both the ones I lost.
He played Saturday night.
Yeah, Noah Brown got hurt.
No, I just meant Schultz plays Saturday.
So you got to take Saturday. Yeah, but on that note, Noah Brown got hurt. I don't even know what the hell happened to Devontae because I wasn't watching that game, but he got hurt. So those are two of the props that I missed on. And then Kelsey I missed on, and somehow Justin Jefferson had a shitty game. I blame Dave for the Jefferson one. I asked him about this dude Hall. It's like, yeah, the guy can sling it. I didn't watch the game because I was with family again.
I just told you he could throw. I didn't tell you to take the bet.
I guess he could.
He tries to blame it on Dave.
Big enough target.
Yeah, I only gave him about 10 winners in college football. Now,
you did a good job in college football, but all the other ones came through for the most part.
DJ
Smythe
Moore
crushed. Looks like they want to go DJ Moore. Also makes sense.
Yeah.
Good value there at 7K. There's a lot of value out there, guys. Like you can land anywhere. I don't think too many people are going to be paying up in a lot of spots. As mid-range or some of this lower value will get you there as well. So if you're not going with CD or AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson, there's some value out there. So Dave, back to you, man. You got Justin Fields. You can't stack him with DJ Moore. Audience is playing against you.
Fine.
So who are you going to go with?
I'm going to take a run back in that game. Jaden Reed, he went out with a little bit of rib injury or chest injury the other day, but he still was in there long enough to get 6 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's definitely become Jordan Love's favorite. And can anybody who was on the Jordan Love train earlier this season, the kid can play. He can flat out play, and we're seeing it.
It's nuts, Dave, not to cut you off, but it's nuts. Like they showed his stats against Rodgers when they were at the same age. They were like identical to the yardage, and then like a couple games went by, and it's back to being like identical for the first year that Rodgers took over for Favre. It's like, how does Green Bay do this? There's all this turmoil around it. That's what I said. We're gonna get stuck with Jordan Love like in 20 years on the Jets. Like, thanks, bro. Thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see. But one thing we know is he's been able to move the ball through the air to all different receivers. He spreads it out, but it really looks like Watson's not going to play. That hamstring. When you have a hamstring, like we've said, soft tissue, stay away. So it's between Dobbs and Reed. Give me Reed. I think he'll suit up. This is a win and they're in game for the Packers.
Yep.
I like that because again, winning you're in, man.
Yep.
Winning you're in, and that's exactly where I'm going. Looking at a team, looking to lock up a player berth. a playoff berth. I know this guy's been inconsistent. He finally had a nice showing last week, and we're used to this in Philadelphia when we had Doug Peterson as our head coach. So, but give me Travis Etienne, 7,300 against Tennessee. I think Tennessee is just kind of in shambles right now. They're up and down. They got a lot of things going on. And listen, like I said, they're playing for something here in Jacksonville, and he has a good game. They go on to the playoffs. So give me Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I think someone's got like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a parlay, and you need the Jags to win their division to win some
really
funky. Yeah, like for a couple $100,000. I saw it posted on Twitter. So that guy definitely wants the Jags to win. All right, let me go with another questionable guy that if you had him last week, you're a genius. You're definitely smarter than me. I'll ride it this week. Kind of a must-win spot. He's got a little chest injury, but Juwan Johnson, 3,600 at the tight end spot. Dude got 12 targets last week. I didn't see that coming, but it's Tampa's D. But still, his price didn't really go up at 3,600. Coming off a monster week like that, I'll ride that one more time. And then I'm going to go a little bit stars and scrubs here. Not the best matchup, but, a good matchup. I'm on Ross St. Brown. I think they bounced back here. He just played Minnesota 2 weeks ago, had 12 receptions, 14 targets, 106 receiving, and a touchdown. So I'll go Amon-Ra to get, two studs in my lineup at the wide receiver spot, and then I'll pay down with Juwan.
I like it. And I mean, you say they'll bounce back. They got ripped off by, I don't even know what type of means you want to see. The guy checked in. There's
that shit was wild. I was sitting there at a friend's house for New Year's and it was muted. I'm like trying to figure out what the hell happened. I'm like, and then I rewind. I'm like, I got to see what the hell happened. Because they weren't really into football. I was like, girls around, everybody else around, kids around. I was like, what is going on here? Like, this does not make any sense right now. This is bonkers that, like, the guy walked over there. It looked like the ref was, like, totally ignoring him and ran the other way. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was crazy. And now they won't probably ref a playoff game, but rightfully so. So, Tone, you're up.
Well, I have a lot of decisions here to make. And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I got to make things interesting, right? So we talked about, Jay said stars and scrubs. We talked about matchups. We talked about people who are going to play for something. I take the mental aspect in a lot of things, and I'm going to go Carson Wentz. and here's why. Honestly, again, this is, and Jay likes when I talk about this way. This always brings me back to Jack Stoll, but I'm a big McVay guy. I've always been a Sean McVay guy, and we just mentioned diversity at the beginning of the show, and everything that Carson Wentz has gone through, and everything that we've heard about, and the ego that McVay has. I understand that they're playing for nothing, but at the end of the day, he's going to want to show that he can make Carson Wentz a performer, even if it's against scrubs, right? It doesn't matter. He wants to show he can sling it. So for me, for 4,500, that's worth the price of admission. So give me Carson Wentz.
I like it. And here's another angle, and I think you were heading this way too. This is like a showcase for him too, right? So if he wants to have a job next year, and he wants to compete for a starting position, show that he learned a little something on their McVay, show that he matured a little. So
they just want to see they want to see him make some, can he make the deep throws? Yep. And what better guy to play with than McVay to show that you can play, right? So I'm going to go. I'm out on a limb here, but you got to have some fun.
It's not even that far. It's not that far out, Tone. Just so
I kind of mean, Jay, because everything in Philly with Carson Wentz.
I'm just saying. I just want to make one point. Like, getting any quarterback at 4,000 or 4,500, like, that's the equivalent of Juwan Johnson for the most part. Like, if he gets you 12 points and you load up everywhere else, and there's not a Mahomes, even though Mahomes is not Mahomes anymore, but like a lot of the big quarterbacks aren't on the slate. They're resting, whatever the case may be. No Lamar Jackson. So like that position scarcity of like, okay, now if somebody goes for 35 in the quarterback position, you're sitting with Carson Wentz at 12 or 15, you might be in trouble. But in this scenario, I think, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody wins $1 million with one of these 4K, 5K guys who finds a way to run into the end zone for a touchdown or two. God knows what happens. There's a lot. Jeff Driscoll is 4K. I'm not playing him, but Tannehill 4.8 against Jacksonville. There's some guys out there that Easton Stick. Who knows what he can do with a backup in KC running defense. So it's not crazy, man.
Yeah, I actually like Nick Mullins this week too, but I mean, I think paying down again is actually a pretty good. If I didn't go for Fields, I was probably going to get in your territory, Tone. I like it because there's just so many skill players that could light up the card this week. But speaking of skill players, I'm going to avoid them this pick real quick, and I'm going to go with the New York Jets defense. I watched what Bailey Zappi did against Buffalo last week and turned it over 4 straight times early in the game. One of them picked 6. Like, it was nasty. Yeah, they fought back a little bit, but the Jets still got a little bark in them, right? I'll take them this week against a very turnover-prone New England team.
Okay.
Bailey Zappi, I think we can finally just say he stinks.
Yeah. And it looks like, who's talking JSN? Wendell or no?
No, I was telling them they said they need a third wide receiver to have initials because they have DJ Moore and DK.
They have all the initial guys.
I say you can go JSN because you got Geno Smith. It'll be a double spot, but let them make their pick. McBride works. They stack up that Seattle game in a run back with McBride. I think that's a great play. They want to go Garrett Wilson. That also makes some sense as long as they have a quarterback to throw him the ball. Wilson's another guy that's going to have a pretty big year next year. He would have had a monster year this year if he had Aaron Rodgers. Like, it would have been
easily.
Crazy.
I agree.
He's open so many times, like wide open. I've been watching these games. I've been betting a lot on Brees, and even the reception totals on Garrett Wilson have been like 4.5 every single game because of the quarterback play. And it's like, dude's getting 10 targets. A lot of them are shitty targets because the quarterback's been so bad, but he's been getting over most of these times. So roll McBride. If you want to go Wilson on the Jets, that's cool. I don't know if he's playing for much, but he's out there proving his thing. So, and also look, when you look at these games, the over-unders dictate what Vegas thinks. With the Eagles game, it's 41.5. The Saints game, 42.5. The Lions game, 45.5. The Jets game not looking so good at 30.5. Quarterback play has a lot to do with that. So just, factor that in because Vegas is doing the same homework we're doing. They know the same information. Maybe they have a little bit better information. That's why the Seattle-Arizona game at 47.5, it's going to be a game a lot of people are targeting. Same thing with Cowboys Commanders 45.5, Green Bay Chicago 44.5. So that's a big hint of where you should be going with some of your action as well. So if you guys let them roll the Jets, then go Garrett Wilson. Yeah, let's throw that in there because I don't see anything else coming up. And Dave, it's back to you, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Give me one more run in this Green Bay game. Give me Tucker Kraft. I just again, I didn't get the quarterback, but I'm okay running 2 receivers and no quarterback at times. And I think I get a good combo, 2 guys under 10K. I'm attacking this Green Bay game, obviously. So give me Tucker Kraft, who's going for double digits 3 straight weeks.
I like it.
Crazy how many Green Bay receivers just emerge out of nowhere. Like, we thought Musgrave was a dude.
Yeah.
Musgrave gets hurt and Tucker Kraft comes out. Watson was supposed to be the dude, and then Jaden Reed and Wicks and even Dubs have been doing his thing. Like, Green Bay, just an organization that's always been good and sometimes great. The opposite of a lot of other organizations. They figure things out pretty well, kind of like the Steelers do. But, Tone, what do you got here?
I'm going to flip around a little bit here, and I'm going to go defense. I'm going to take the Cowboys defense. I don't normally take a defense, but because I go Carson Wentz at 4,500, I think I went a good amount of stars there. My first 4 picks. Now it gives me another star for defense with the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Especially now that it looks like they're just going to let Sam Howell die because Brissett came up with this fake hamstring injury. So I like it.
I would definitely fake that shit too, man. So
yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
No.
Look, I told you guys earlier, I'm gonna ride with this dude one more week. He's been paying off. I've been playing in my DFS lineups. I've been playing him in the prop market. I'll go with Slayton. And before I lock this next one, I'm just gonna say it. There's gonna be value. I'm not sure if I get to this guy when we actually lock lineups on Sunday, but with KC playing backups, they're going to try to figure things out. And certain players are like technically backups, but not, they still have a role. Those are the guys I'm going to be looking at. So I'm going to go with Noah Gray at 2.5. Pretty sure Kelsey's out, but Gray's going to be in there. You have a backup quarterback, probably dumping him some balls. So at 2.5, I'm going to go stars and scrubs. I think Watson's in play as well. I don't know who's going to play for KC, when it comes down to it, but I can almost safely assume that, Kelsey and Rashee Rice are out. So give me Noah Gray, hoping that he gets a pretty dominant role here. And, the quarterback and Gabbert can get him the ball. We've seen Gabbert be somewhat professional at times. So I don't think he's the worst option at quarterback either. So Noah Gray, 2,500. Like I said, stars and scrubs. This could be, a pretty good situation here.
Stars and scrubs.
I love it. Yeah.
Stars and scrubs.
All right, Tony, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna fill in my quarterback stack here, man. I'm gonna go a little Tutu Atwell. So give me that Carson Wentz Tutu Atwell connection again. A flashy guy that he's gonna play, man.
I like that.
He's gonna play and listen again. He just does so many different things. So I went in at these cheap stacks, and that was one of them. So I like Tutu a lot.
Yeah, that same point as me. Dude's technically kind of a starter.
Yep.
And so he's not coming off the practice squad coming in.
Exactly.
He was a guy that had a real role at some times throughout the season when players were hurt, and he had big games. So it's these are a guy that they want to keep fresh in case Cooper Kupp or Puka or anybody goes down in the playoffs. This guy's a real dude. He's not just some guy. Same thing with Noah Gray. He's active. He's not as active as Travis Kelce, but he's active. So that's why Tutu, great call. And I think he's a guy that you can definitely dumpster dive and have upside with somebody at 3,300. That's what you want in GPPs, and that's even what you want in your cash games. If I was building a cash lineup, I would go with a couple 3K guys and then load up on guys like CD or whoever you're highest on, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, running backs. Go that route. It's the best route, I think, for cash and GPPs.
I agree, 100%.
I like it. I got one of those coming up, but I think I'm going to wait one more. Yeah, I'm going to wait one more again. I'm going to go and get my man Calvin Ridley right now. Listen, he hasn't really had the greatest year, but he's had a couple of splash weeks. Also look at his targets, 50 in the past 5 weeks. He's getting the volume. He's just not getting the deep balls. It's a lot of just, 4 for 38, 5, but sometimes it's 2 touchdowns. And this week is a huge week for them. So give me Ridley.
Okay.
All right. We got audience for 2. You got a running back spot you got to grab, and then flex and defense and keep it under 12K.
Looks like they want to go, or at least you got Buffalo's on a main slate. So Japan, we got to figure that out. Tillman for Cleveland, and then the Jags D. I'm okay with that. We'll have 3 more seconds. Everybody else pops in here. Tillman was getting some run with Cleveland when Flacco was out there. So he's another guy that, maybe they want to start pushing into a wide receiver 3 situation. Did we hear what happened with Elijah Moore? Is Elijah Moore okay after what happened to him? I know he's not probably going to play this week, but something to look into. But yeah, Tillman, Jags D works for me. So Dave, it is back to you. You need a wide receiver. You need a flex spot.
Yeah, I can save my expensive one. And here's where I go my value. Similar to where your minds were at, both you, Tony and Jason. We're going to go Justin Watson this week. I do think out of anybody on that cheap side, I do think he's still going to be able to get some run. They can't bench him all, right? I think
if KC was smart, they wouldn't bench him because he's the one guy who actually can catch the ball. They should run Tony out there and throw 20 targets to this dude until he catches the ball.
Yeah, him and MVS.
I don't know where Sky Moore is. MVS, he dropped another one.
Oh my God!
Right. So there's it's God punished Mahomes this year. I don't know if it's the Taylor Swift thing or it's his brother or whatever it is, man. Dude just dropping every pass all around, man. It's crazy. But yeah, Watson 3,400.
Yeah, Kelsey out. Rice probably, you're not going to play him a ton. Maybe Watson could end up being one of the number ones this weekend. So, all right, Tone, you got 9,000 left for 2 spots.
9,000. I just saw Ed talk about Boston Scott against the Giants. That's funny, man, because we know how that goes.
We do know, but we're done knowing. Remember we talked on the pre-lock show that Penny was going to be active. I'm like, don't. I'm done guessing what the Eagles running game is.
Yeah, I'm done, man. I'm done. And I'll tell you what, I listened to Jason Kellis today on the radio. He just sounds defeated, man. So
He's done.
he's out. So I'm gonna stick to that game now. Stick to that game because I'm gonna go a little combo here, and I'm gonna go with Dallas Goedert as my tight end. Again, another. Obviously it's the last time we can hope for this, but this is the last time if the Eagles are going to bounce out of this dreck. Okay, they did score 28 points last week. We keep forgetting
It's
about
Arizona.
that, right?
It's Arizona. It's Arizona.
Right, but still, they still scored points.
Well,
it's
they had a pick six.
yeah, but still, they scored points. 21 points. Okay,
Yeah, it was
take out
the
the Sidney
defense,
Brown
right?
pick six. That's okay. So again, I think to get back to.
So just so you know, if you
be
haven't
more
realized
simple.
that, Dave is completely given up on the Eagles this year. Just so you,
I know,
you
I
haven't
see.
figured it out. He's like,
You
he
can tell.
completely thinks they're dead.
They are.
Dead.
They are.
You know it. Yeah, you know. I see it in the tweets.
Yeah.
I see it in the way you talk about the team. Like,
Dead.
Tony's still holding out for this team.
No, I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl by any means, but I'm just saying that because the defense couldn't stop us three. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we could all suit up at running back and we could all run through a hole.
No, and
Right, so I don't think that
you're
makes
right.
a difference. You know
You're
what I
right.
mean?
No, the
your
offense is
defense
still,
absolutely stinks.
yeah, the
Right,
offense is
and
still
that's
full of
coaching.
points. Yeah.
Like your whole defense that broke the record in sacks last year. Now all of a sudden can't sack anybody, and you have your best sack master dropping into coverage. Like, stop.
7.
Stop.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So,
The offense is still, you can get points against the Giants. So I like the pick. Goddard showed up the last couple weeks too. So, all right, Jay.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go defense here. I'm gonna have all my plays in the cheat sheet, but I'll trust Vegas on this one. I don't like this defense normally, but the Browns are projected to have the lowest scoring team total, I think, right now. Actually, the Jets are slightly lower at 14.5. Browns sitting at 15. So I'll go the Bengals D. Assuming they're going to be benching everybody. I know coaching wise, the Browns are good here, but I think they're going to be resting a bunch of people. And then I'll go another questionable player. Obviously, I got 3 questionable players right now. With Johnson and Kenneth Walker, I'll add a third. Tyrod. Dude is actually good at quarterback. He really is. I
agree.
think he gets disrespected. Yeah. Like if he played, like, I know this sounds crazy, but if he played for San Fran would be a playoff team. Yeah. They might not be as good as Purdy, but I think they'd be pretty professional. I think he's a great backup. I think he could have played better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league this year. Not Flacco level talent, but like one level below Flacco. He could run. He had some big plays too last couple of weeks. He could have had a couple more, but there were some penalties. But look at 5,300. He gets me 20 points. I'm ecstatic. He gets me like 15 to 18. I'm still good. I think he's slightly safer than some of like the 4K guys. And he still has the upside. And then, you talk about matchups. It's a good matchup against Philly. I'm not trying to dog you guys, but pretty good matchup there. He played decent against them in I think he played like one half when the DeVito story ended. He threw for 133, and I think, like I said, like in a half, ran the ball for 21 yards, got 10 points. So if he can put up 20, I'm happy. I got the stack with Slayton at 4K, really cheap, wide receiver 1 combination. So I'll roll that.
I think it's a great pick. Like, there's nobody, like Tony said earlier, stopping quarterbacks on this team right now. So, Tyrod at 5,300. I mean, your floor is probably 15.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But the only thing that's worrying me, there is an injury concern there. So, that's the only thing that could pop up there. But if he plays 4 quarters with his rushing upside, I think you have a decent floor there.
All right, Tone, let's round out your team.
Yeah, man, this is another value play, man. So again, you go into these things and you talk about. I'm actually proud of myself. I am because, I had a lot of players. Obviously, listen, we're all playing, right? So when we're all DFS players, we kind of know. And there may be one guy like Jay snuck it in with Jawan Johnson. I even think of him at 3,600. I think that's a great play. Yeah. But you hear me get frustrated. Everybody get like, thanks for taking my guy. But so I have $600 left after I take this guy. So I'm pretty confident. But number one, I love the guy's name. Okay, I just love the guy's
You
name.
love his name. Wait, let me and Dave try to guess the guy. You love his name.
I love his
He's
name.
from Denver.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I love him too.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Little Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
I would have guessed that. I took like 10 guesses.
Dave's gonna love this. I don't know if we have any wrestling fans in the audience, but reminds me of Little Jimmy from R-Truth. So if everybody knows R-Truth, he told he had this shtick a while ago where he saw an imaginary person was called Little Jimmy. So that's what reminds you of Little Jordan. So Little Jordan Humphrey again. This is like the McVay thing. I don't know what the hell Peyton's doing out there in Denver. He's the egomaniac, but he's not going to make these moves. And we already see that Judy's done. Jay's alluded to it. He's had every chance to shine. He's done. And you see last week, man, this kid had, he has a nice touchdown. He gets 4 targets, goes for 70 yards. They need to build a rapport. So I really think that this could be another one of those 3,300 guys against Vegas that has no defense out there. I think that he can actually light up the scoreboard a little bit this week.
This is going to be a week. This is going to be a week where like multiple 3K guys go for like 100 yards and a touchdown. And so wide receivers and the tight ends that you're going to have to, like I said, stars and scrubs is the way you should be building this week. Like guys like Ben Skowronek at 3K. You never know. We got to wait to see when there's like some projected, starting lineups that get a little bit closer. There's guys on the Chargers, they're going to roll out some 3K guys. So you mix and match like the Tutu Atwell, good call, the Watson, good call. You mix and match some of these 3K guys and take a shot on a couple of different ones. Someone's going to go off. I couldn't tell you who it is right now that I feel the most confident in. It could be MVS. Like, it wouldn't be shocking that MVS, they throw him out there for 4 quarters. He learns how to catch overnight, and he goes for like 100 yards with Gabbard here. So, mix and match some of these 3K guys because a couple of them are going to go off, and you're going to be sitting there and saying, damn, who is this guy? Or you're going to have him in your lineup and look like a genius. So take some shots, and that's why we're saying focus more on GPPs. And then if you're doing that 3K thing, I wouldn't be building too much that mid-range. Go for the studs, that you feel the best about. If you think it's CeeDee Lamb or you think it's A.J. Brown or you think it's, one of the running backs like Rachaad White, go with those studs that you really feel good about to pair up with the scrubs.
Yeah, Tony, I looked at it. Sutton could be back, but it's a concussion. Why do they need to play him? They know what he is. Right. Like you said, Judy. So Brandon Johnson was another one I did look at, but I think Lil Jordan showed a lot more last week. So I'm with you.
He did.
Yeah, really.
Peyton likes him. Peyton brought him over from the Saints too, so I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah, and then I also would say look at San Fran's receiver backfield. I think Juwan Jennings as well as Ronnie Bell could be some decent 3Ks. But while I'm at it, and before I take my pick, Ed, I appreciate the invite. I really do. I mean, I feel for Jets fans as much as many of us do in the country. I mean, losing Rodgers early. I mean, it always seems to happen to the Jets. So I feel for you, but I'm not leaving the bus. I saw something earlier this week that showed that the Baltimore Ravens, when they won their title, lost in week 14, 15, 16, or 1 in 16, lost in 17. Lost 3 of the last 4. It's very similar to the kind of path the Eagles are on, and rebounded and played and won in the playoffs. They actually became a wild card team and won in the playoffs. That was that Super Ray Lewis defense. So I'm not saying that's the path the Eagles will take, but the only way that they can get me out of my kind of I'm done with this team is if somehow, some way these guys, some of them come back and play because Darius Slay can get back in there. If you can get some other pieces on the linebacking core, maybe, just maybe they can just turn things around a little bit because I have seen enough in Kelly Ringo. He's decent, but God, Sidney Brown
looks decent, man.
Yeah, Brown's gonna be okay, but he's completely lost.
Oh yeah, listen, he just wants to hit somebody and murder.
That's it. And usually not anybody with the ball. He's just running at anybody. And then I'm done with Reed Blankenship. The dude stinks, but
that guy's terrible. Man. That guy's definitely
terrible.
It is.
Listen, at the floor.
It's the MO. It's the MO in Philadelphia. We fall in love with the backup people, and they get exposed when they get their role expanded. We find out, well, this dude really wasn't that good anyway.
No, and that's the reason he wasn't drafted. But and then I just want to take one more just shot at Jay. I am taking D-Hop, but one more shot at Jay. You said Tyrod Taylor is a tick under Joe Flacco. Come on, man. Joe's like top 5 NFL right now.
He's-
Yeah,
Listen,
you can't be all Jersey Joe.
if you were with us like a couple years back, I thought he was a starter a couple years ago, and I think he's a good player, man. I always was behind Flacco.
I love him. I love
I think
everything
he's
about him.
always been a good player, man. Like he's a little bit of a gunslinger, but like he stands in the pocket. He does what he needs to do. You can turn him into a game manager if you want to. You can throw him up and down like a dimmer. Like whatever you tell him to do, the dude would do.
Yep.
Obviously, it looked terrible on the Jets when there's no offensive line and no wide receivers. Like it's kind of like the Giants now. Like you don't give anybody a wide receiver and no line, they're gonna look terrible. Even with the Jets this year too. It's like Rodgers would have suffered this year too. I don't know if he would have made it 18 weeks if he didn't have that freak injury week 1 because their offensive line is awful. That's why Breece Hall couldn't run for 16 out of 18 weeks because their offensive line is terrible and you have no quarterback behind it. You know, you put him in a good system in Cleveland with good coaching and a good offensive line. You know, that's why I always remember, as stupid as it sounds, you know, any given Sunday with Jamie Foxx's character, like you put a quarterback in the wrong position on the wrong team, you get drafted to the wrong team, your whole career can go to shit.
It is. Yep.
You know, real quick.
Yep.
You know, and that's what the point they were trying to make in that movie to some extent. And look at who the audience picked. Remember what team he was on? The Jets. You know how terrible he looked on the Jets?
Oh.
Terrible. He goes to Seattle, you know, gets a big contract. He didn't write himself off. You know the whole story there. So quarterback play more than anything else. You're on the wrong team, wrong coach, wrong system. You're going to look like trash. And, you know, I think that's what happens with a lot of these quarterbacks, man. Like wide receivers, you can still make that flash play. Like, oh, this guy's still good. You know, oh, he runs fast. He's good. He caught this guy up. It's good. But, like, if you're getting blindsided every other down and you don't have a run game and you have, like, 3 wide receiver 4s, same thing with Lamar Jackson. Why do you think he looks good this year? You got Zay Flowers, you got Odell, and you have a couple weapons for him. He still doesn't have a true number 1. Like Zay Flowers is not a number 1.
And doesn't even have a true number 1
I've been saying for the last 5
either.
years, if Lamar Jackson had a number 1 wide receiver, this dude would be talking like way levels above. Like he'd be in the Mahomes territory if he had a wide receiver 1 and a tight end. Well, he had Andrews, but like he never had that wide receiver 1 at all.
No, I'm with you, but just loving me some Joe. So I'm appreciating, but you're so true. Jets had a terrible offensive line yesterday. They did kind of fix it, but not fully, but it's better. It's better, obviously. And if he was there this year, I think it would have changed things. But we're gonna and Avant, I think this is a really good point that you're making here. You know why they're calling Young a bust? He's got no one around him, but it's also that owner. That whole franchise is just a complete, cyclone of awful. And it's hard to thrive in an environment where, you're not really set up well. This guy's firing coaches mid-season. He's throwing glasses at people. Like, it's a tough place to really have some continuity. I don't think Young's necessarily a bust, but it goes back to Jason's point. It matters where you get drafted. Yeah. All right, I'm going to add in Jordan Mason for these guys. Looks like they're shooting on him. He fits their salary. Niners, starting second-tier running back this week behind Eli Mitchell, depending what he does. So I do like that pick. That's a high-risk, potentially high-reward pick there. So I think
that could be great because Eli is not like 100% going to play either. So like if Eli's out, then Mason becomes like a smash play because they're going to run the ball a bunch. So I like that call a lot. A lot of these plays will pan out, and I'm going to have to probably change the cheat sheet multiple times, from now until Sunday morning. And same thing with the projection models. Are going to be changing 100 times over from now until Sunday as more news pops out. Who's the confirmed starter? What's the touches? It's almost like a preseason game for a lot of these teams, or a week 1 game where it's a lot of question marks on a lot of these players. So I'm also really interested to see the prop market, how they release these lines out. Dave, playoffs going to start in a week from now. Who do you think makes it to the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, and who do you think makes it to the Super Bowl and ends up winning it?
Great questions. And, this is not going to sound popular, but I'm still a little bit nervous about Baltimore. Just the way that Jackson has played in the playoffs in his last 3 outings. It just I have a concern. I love how they're playing. I love John Harbaugh. I mean, Tony, him as our special teams coordinator, everything. But I do have my concerns that they really haven't played a good playoff game like this in a long, long time. I'm going to have to say the Chiefs are getting to the AFC Championship against Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to turn it up, and I like those two teams. Nobody wants to play Buffalo right now. So, and then on the NFC side, yeah, give me Detroit and San Fran.
Okay.
I liked how Detroit played in Dallas. I think they can play there again.
Tone, what do you got?
This is it's really, really tough. It is.
It is?
I don't think it's tough in the NFC. I don't. I listen. I'm a realist, and I've seen it. The 49ers are in a class of their own.
Yeah,
they are. They just are. And listen, I still think Brock Purdy's a system quarterback, but he's in a hell of a system, right? And he's got a hell of a players around him, right? And he's got a hell of a coach. So I don't think it. I think it's a no-brainer. I could definitely see a San Fran and Dallas matchup, in the championship game. Again, I wish the Eagles I could talk about them, but I'm sorry. I'm with Dave on that. Like they're just not automatically going to fix it and just take off. So I think the two best teams will be Dallas and San Fran. So give me San Fran. And then, I disagree with Dave a little bit. I don't, I would love to take the wild card and say Stefanski, who will be, in my opinion, coach of the year, and take that team. It's like a Cinderella swan song with Joe Flacco. But eventually, I think that's going to end. And I do I'm not sold on Miami. I'm not.
No.
I like they lose Bradley Chubb. They got. I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold on Buffalo. I think they have a lot of missing pieces. And I just think Baltimore got hot at the right time. Right. And like literally,
good, man.
And here's the thing, Jay. Not only is
scary,
it good,
they're not the Ray Lewis.
Name 5 players on their defense. Name 5 players on their defense.
Patrick Queen, I can name that.
Right. Kyle Hamilton.
Who we should
have drafted.
Yeah, I know you're not too happy about that. No, look, that defense, like I said, it's not Ray Lewis and Reed great, but it's not too far. It's not too far off. They're playing hungry. They all go to the ball. They're a scary team, and nobody wants to play that team. Nobody really does.
Again,
they finally have some weapons.
Coaching. It's all coaching, man. I'll say it again. Like, you think about coming into this year and all the adversity surrounded the Baltimore Ravens because of the contract situation with Lamar Jackson.
How many idiot teams have to be looking around like, I didn't give this guy the money? Like, how many teams need a quarterback that had every shot to take this dude? And Baltimore is lucky to keep him, man. They really were lucky. I would love to see Baltimore, Cleveland. I don't know how it's going to shake out.
I know.
Matchup. It really would be a great matchup because you have some storylines where obviously Flacco was on Baltimore.
Yep.
You got storylines where Stafford can go against the Lions, which would be amazing to see. I hope those kinds of things would work out. So I would love to see, Baltimore, Cleveland. I do think at this point in time, like today, ask me Monday, it might be different, but I do think with, the Bills have enough. They have the chip on their shoulder. They're coming into form. If they can get Diggs going, that would be a thing. I think Buffalo, Baltimore would be like the obvious choice right now. I think the Chiefs are too broken. Like they're too far away from it. The Jags are the Jags, man. They made that run last year, but I don't see that happening again. So I would rate it Bills, Ravens the best chances to get through. But obviously Mahomes, you don't want to face that guy, and Andy Reid is still there. I would love to see the Browns make, even though I'm not a Browns fan. On NFC side, the clear top choice that everybody will say is San Fran. I think the Rams are kind of scary. Like, I wouldn't want to play the Rams and McVay, and Stafford is actually a really good quarterback, still underrated in my opinion. I want to give it to the Cowboys, based upon Dak playing good, but playoff Dak versus, regular Dak, regular season Dak I haven't seen playoff Dak perform that well, but they're the best team right now, but they can easily lose. So, I would love to see, the Lions get there just to finally, have them win some games. But, yeah, I'm actually going to go to Lions, man. I'm going to go Lions, San Fran coming out. If it aligns, obviously, if it doesn't align with the playoff brackets, that wouldn't make sense. And I'll go Baltimore, Buffalo and we'll save it to next week to see who gets in. But Rams versus Browns, that'd be pretty fun. I don't know how many people want to see that because LA fans don't even watch the games, and the Browns would love to see it, man. But
yeah, so I'm nervous. Here's my Baltimore story. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. He's 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, averaged 200 yards a game, never scored over 20 points. Like there's something and I'm scared they're going to play KC. That's if they don't play KC, I think they get there. I just think
KC's not putting up 30 points.
It doesn't matter. It's the pressure of beating Andy Reid that he's already shown me. That's my concern.
Like Tony said though, like name their defense, name the wide receivers he's had on these playoff runs. It's been like Nelson Aguilar types that he's had as wide receivers. It's been bad, man. Like he had no option to throw the ball to anybody. It was Mark Andrews they would double team and there would be nobody else out.
Listen, I love him. I'm just trying. He's got to show me that hopefully they don't. And I think the Chiefs are actually in the 3 spot. So I guess they wouldn't play the Chiefs before then. So that they might end up. I think the Chiefs are locked in the 3. All right, so they can still get there. I just want. Listen, I want nothing more than the Chiefs not getting to the Super Bowl. You got to understand. I got to find the right path that they don't get there. So
I don't think they get there this year, man. I really, luck's not going to be on their side. Not that it was the last couple of years. I give Mahomes all the credit, Andy Reid all the credit, but they got too many holes. Yeah. The only bright spot they have this year is Pacheco, and Rashee Rice is starting to mold in, but Kelsey's look washed, man, and nobody else can catch the ball but Rashee Rice. It's pretty bad, dude.
So me and my sons were talking after the Eagles game the other day. We've decided we're going to go in the playoffs and cheer. Each pick a new team to cheer for. It's the Eagles too. Don't get me wrong. And we're Baltimore and Buffalo were 2 of the names that came out, and then anybody that plays Dallas. So I'm changing. I'm going Baltimore, Buffalo.
All right. Let's Baltimore, Buffalo's where I would say that's the clearest path that I can see come through.
Especially if Buffalo wins, they get the 2.
Yeah, that's a big game. Do you think they beat Miami?
I do.
Easily this week?
Not easily. Nobody beats Mike McDaniels. I love, but I
ended up betting Baltimore.
I used to not to, Tony, but I saw his story on how he got sober, and they turned me around a little bit. I think the goofy shit he does is his kind of fix, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't.
No, I was like that too.
I like him, dude. I like him. I think it's funny, dude. I think he's smart. I think he's making things happen. You see him going to Marino the other day. He said, "Fuck your records." I like that kind of stuff, man. I think that kind of stuff is funny to me. But the Ravens bet last week. I was talking to C. I'm like, this makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're at home -3. I'm like, it doesn't look right. It shouldn't be -3, and I finally said, screw it. Once Mostert was out, I'm like, all right, that's enough. The line still didn't move. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Do you think the Bills that same play this week, Dave, at -3?
My only concern with the Bills is that they love to lose every game once you think they're there, right? Yeah. So I'm a little. I think I'm just going to settle in and watch that one. If I took a side, I would lean Bills, but I got to see where the public's at because my fear is that will be a heavy Buffalo. I think you might see a lot of money coming in on Buffalo, which would skew where I'm going.
Seattle -2.5 in a must-win spot. I think that looks kind of, it looks too easy as well. I know Arizona's been hanging in games, but I don't know how, they beat Seattle, but they could beat Seattle. They've beaten 2 great teams, I guess, in Philly and Dallas. Those are the 2 spots we're looking at. Do you have any calls, Dave, on any bets that you like? You like anything to do with this Colts-Texans game that's meaningful for both sides here, or anything that you're looking at so far?
Yeah, I like Houston a little bit. I think they've, Stroud being back obviously has changed some things. I think they're back to their winning ways. The Colts, I love what Steichen has done. I mean, geez, who thought they'd get to 9 wins? But not only 9 with Gardner Minshew. You could have told me Anthony Richardson blew up this year. I might have seen a way to 9. Not with Minshew.
And so many injuries, too. Pittman's been banged up. Jonathan Taylor's been banged up. They let go of Shaq Leonard. It's how do you put this all together and win games? They've been winning tough games, close games. So that's an interesting game. I think Houston is the better team. But you can't count out the Colts either, man. They've been figuring out ways to spoil other teams' easy wins the whole entire year. So that's all I got for you, Tone. Dave, any last thoughts? Tony,
The
want to
one
get us out
last
of here?
one, I lean towards the Bears a little bit. Every time Green
So
Bay
do I.
looks like,
So
every
do
time
I.
Green Bay looks like they're up and they're cruising and they're ready to, take that
That
next
Bears
step.
D is good too, man.
Yeah.
That Bears D is good.
I really like
It's
what
very good.
Yeah, I like what the coach has done there. He's really rallied that team around and really simplified
Shocked too.
things. Yeah.
Shocked too. I mean, I thought he was a stiff. I
Yeah.
thought it was another guy had no idea, way overmatched, Eberflus. I didn't think he could do it, and kudos to him. And speaking of coaches, before I go, everybody talk about coaches. How about again, year 17 without a losing season of Mike Tomlin
It's
in
crazy.
Pittsburgh. I am telling you, Dave, right now. I know Jay don't care because we're going to talk Philly for a second, but I'm hearing rumblings that the Pittsburgh Steelers will listen to offers for him as a trade, like the John Gruden kind of route. I'll tell you what, man, I'd go all in. If I was the Philadelphia Eagles right now, what do you want? Give me Mike Tomlin, because one thing he does, he gives the team an identity, man. He gives the team an identity.
Can Pittsburgh get in here, or they have no shot getting in? They need to.
Oh yeah,
they're 9-7.
They get in.
What do they need?
They need a win, and I think they lost to Houston, so I think they need a
Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Houston. They probably need a couple of those teams to win.
There's something in one of those AFC South games they need.
I think it's going to be hard for them to make it.
They're not eliminated. They're one of the only teams that are not eliminated in the AFC. So they probably need a combination of the Colts, Texans, Jags. Probably two of those three teams. Someone's going to win the division.
Just to think, what he's going through this year, right?
They're saying they need Bills to lose to the
It's
Dolphins.
just crazy, man. It still gets it done. I love it, dude.
Bills to lose to the Dolphins, which, look, they can find a way in.
Otherwise, they need the Jags to lose to the Titans and some other quirky stuff. There's a lot of scenarios, but that's the simplest path. Win and Bills lose.
Yeah, if the Bears didn't win some close games this year, they'd be alive too right here. But obviously, it's crazy how if you went 500, you'd be alive in both divisions for the most part.
Yeah. I thought the Bears had an outside shot. No, they were.
No, they're eliminated. Bears are eliminated. One of the only teams on the NFC side outside of the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers are eliminated. But everybody in the South, besides the Panthers, are in line to kind of find a way in. So Saints have to win, and I think they get in. So we'll see what happens, man. A lot of shitty teams out there, a lot of bad quarterback play, a lot of backup quarterback play. So it makes for an interesting Week 18, man.
It really does.
We had some Week 18s that weren't that good lately. This one's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They got the best game, flexed out. So we should at least see, a good. They have one good game on Saturday. It means a lot, which makes sense. And then they got the Bills Dolphins, which is, I would say, the best matchup on the board. So we'll see what happens there, man. Tyreek Hill needs 240 or whatever to hit the
2,000.
best record, or 2,000, whatever the hell it is. So that injury hurt him. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I hope everybody's all right. I'm assuming. I think the last time I saw reports, his house went on fire today, but nobody was.
I saw a little bit of that today.
Yeah. I saw it earlier in the day. I haven't checked back in on it, but yeah. So hopefully everybody's all right out there. But that's it, man. Let's go. Let's get out of here, man. Definitely.
Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Andre Rising.
Don't even go there because he's got 5 of those.
I know. That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that when that first came up, but yeah, that's very well could be the case.
You never know. Just throwing it out there.
Andre Rising, man. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Wow. Well, listen, man, it's been real. Again, we're still going to do this for the playoffs, just so everybody knows. So, we're going to do this for the playoffs. We're going to run through the playoffs. It's going to get even more interesting in the playoffs, which is even going to be more fun. So, thanks to everybody, Japan, Yvonne, Edward, everybody getting involved tonight, getting in. I know our me and Dave's boy Adam checked in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate the support as always, getting involved in everything. WinDailySports.com. If you're a new member, make sure you're liking, subscribing to the show. Make sure you're hopping in Discord so you can get the ladder plays from Jason every single day. Made more money. I got to get back on my parlays. I know Dave's dropping college games things. Listen, we're all doing something, which is great. And you can always find us in Discord as well. And listen, don't be afraid to ask about the deals that we have too. We have a lot of partners, a lot of deals. So if you're in a betting state and you're looking for some free money, not only can we get you the deal, but we can give you the bet to hit that night. So not only you get the free money for them, you get the free money for them, and everybody wins. So as always, everybody, thanks for joining in. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Good luck this week, and let's cast.